Welcome to Debugging Dan, where I share weekly my journey balancing life, a full-time job and side projects. I'm Dan, your host. Let's dive in. Episode 14 already. The topic for today is accountability. So, for those that don't know, every 2 weeks I update everybody, or the listeners, on what I did in the past 2 weeks and what I am going to do in the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to share that and keep myself accountable by sharing that. And so this week is another episode of the accountability. This is the third one. First, I'll update you on what I did in the past 2 weeks, what I scheduled, what I planned, how it went. And then I'll tell you what I'm going to do in the next 2 weeks. But first, I'd like to reflect a little on the past week. So the Saturday before I recorded the previous podcast 13 on my tech stack, I normally record on Sundays, and that Saturday I spend most of the day building a script that automates publishing the podcast. So when I record the raw video, I chop off the beginning and the end, and then I create the cover image, and I automated all the steps after that. So adding a beginning and an end, the intro and the outro, generating the transcripts with Whisper, creating a Notion page for my blog, and that is a major time saver. So it wasn't really working 100% correctly on Sunday, but the big advantage is that it keeps going on after I gave it input. So normally I did it step by step using a checklist, and that worked. But I only need to do stuff like downloading a file, creating a file, creating some image, and then after that it continues automatically. So I can just walk away at that time and it would have transcoded the video or something else. And that's a major time saver in the time it takes for me to do the total podcast. And it also gives me more time to do other things with my family, for example, or work on some project. So I'm also recording with camera this week. I did it last week and I liked it. So I'm continuing that again. Because the thing is, I do like to go back to what I was previously saying. I enjoy recording the podcast. It's fun. It's a break from all the other technical stuff that I do in the week, but it does take time. And I don't have a lot of free time, and parts of the free time I like to spend on the important stuff like my family, on my side projects. And the podcast is also a side project, but I don't want it to take the largest amount of time in the week, because I also want to do some side projects. I also won't have anything to talk about, and I'm not really enjoying myself because I like working on side projects. Additionally, this week it was my birthday, my 40th, and it's well, I don't know really how to describe it, but it is an indication when you're turning 40 that you're getting old. I remember my father getting old, and there was a big party and a lot of traffic signs with 40, and it was a big thing. I'm not really into big things, so I planned something with friends. I planned something with my parents and my father-in-law, and that was also fun. But for me, it isn't really a big thing. I'm turning 40, but I still feel the same, and I'm still in the situation that I'm in yesterday, which is fine. And yeah, it does give you more time. No, not really time. It does make you reflect a little bit more, that you're thinking, oh, I'm now turning 40. I might be at half time period of my life. If I turn 80, is what I'm doing currently what I want to be doing for the latter bigger part of my life, for the second part, yeah, there's a generic feeling or a general feeling of getting old. So that was the past week for me. Let's dive into the topic for today, the accountability update. If you're listening to this via the podcast and don't have the visual aid of YouTube, that's totally fine. I do a voiceover. You don't need to see the screen that I've prepared. I'll just talk it over. So the schedule for this podcast is a 2-week cycle. So in the first week of the cycle, I do an accountability update like this one. And in the second week, I do a topic, or like I did my tech stack last week, or I do a project update like I did for the Notion to do side project. And that's something I keep iterating on. And I started that 6 weeks ago, since this is third accountability update. And I like it. And it also gives me less pressure to come up with new topics or subjects to talk about. And that's also a good thing, because I did start with the first 10, I believe. No, the first 8. I did different topics. And after a while, it got more difficult to think of new topics. So this gives me also some breathing room. And then also I feel that with this schedule, I keep my creativity flowing. So I was thinking past week, I was thinking, well, maybe I need to do some kind of just a rant or event about a specific topic. So I keep thinking of new things to do and to keep things interesting. And I think that this schedule, having a accountability update, which is planned and pretty structured, and having a free off-topic second week really fits me. And I hope the listeners or the listener or viewer like you also. And if you have any feedback, let me know. Leave me a comment on YouTube. Send me a message on X. Whatever you want, let me know. So the accountability task that I created for the past 2 weeks, it was a big collection of small things and some small tasks that I did, like check if a podcast episode really appears on the website. I did an update to the boilerplate that I'm using, so that when I copy it for a new project, I don't need to redo a lot of things. What I mostly did was I checked on the previous copy that I did, checked what I changed there, and also make the changes in the new project. So this should save me more time when setting up a new project. I'm thinking of more smaller tasks that I did, but nothing really comes to mind. Oh, I did some fixes to how I do forms in my applications, things like that. The third item is, of a total of 5, is I did some updates to debuggingdan.com. So I've talked about this before, but if you don't know, debuggingdan.com is the website that I use to publish the transcripts, and the podcast episodes are embedded there. I also have a specific page for the accountability updates. You can also track my progress during the week. I try to update that periodically when I have completed something. And the content I manage in Notion, and I've set up an application which is still private, to generate the blog and the pages for that. And it was missing support for video, so I couldn't embed the YouTube video. I couldn't create columns. So I added some more support for that. Table wasn't available. One of the items that I also wanted to include, which I haven't been able to do yet because of the complexity that there was, but I didn't expect, is having a bullet list with a embedded bullet list within it, or a numbered list. Because the other thing is that within Notion doesn't tell you in the blocks that it returns for a page that it says, hey, a bullet list is coming, these are the 6 items. No, it just tells you, hey, I have a bullet list item for you, and you need to track yourself. Do I need to open the tag? And when does it end? Do I need to close the tag? And I made some code for that, but the complexity of that was growing, and I wasn't able to get it to align right. So at the end, I figured, let's keep this for now on the back burner. I'll pick this up later. I do have an idea now on how to do it. Basically, it would be just me retrieving. When I see a bullet item block or a numbered item, it would be just get all the next ones also and generate the block at once instead of generating the first item in the block and optionally an open tag and then doing the next one and the next one. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I did some changes to the font size on mobile because the titles of a block overview of the list were pretty big on mobile. So they didn't leave a lot of screen space for the rest. The fourth item I did was CEO, and that's the only one I haven't really completed. I did do the follow-up on the Google Search Console. So for all the domains that I have configured there, I went over the URLs that Google reported that had some issues, like soft 404s, which is something that I addressed by adding a pre-render meta tag, because I use pre-render to render the static pages for the crawlers. What I wasn't able to do for SEO was the Ahrefs course. So there's a YouTube video of like 2-3 hours, which I started, but I haven't completed it yet. I haven't found the time to just quietly sit and watch the video. So that's unfortunate because SEO, at least for me, it feels like the marketing channel that fits most. It's more long-term, so it could take months for SEO to pick up. That's what I've learned from it so far. But it's more stable than trying to chase viral posts or doing product and gamification or trying to manipulate Product Hunt or something else. So it feels that it fits for me the most. And so that's why I'm looking into it. I've also looked into the last item, which I also completed, the mail hosting. So what I did, I used a mail cow setup on my server to do the mail hosting myself. And I found out that I kind of already knew that, but mail hosting is difficult to do. It's slow. There you need to set up all kind of stuff for spam filtering and stuff like that. And it turns out that I wasn't able to invest the time to do it properly because, for example, I added debuggingdan.com as a mail address a few weeks ago while I hadn't touched the system in a while. And after like a few days, it started complaining, hey, your SSL certificate is not correct. And then I remembered I need to do some regular cron job running to copy the SSL certificate from Caddy to MailCow so that it's able to have the certificate from Let's Encrypt. And then I figured I need to do this differently. So what I did, I picked a mail hosting provider. I did a search earlier already, but then I didn't follow up on it. So for like 13 euros a year, I'm now hosting everything at Zoho Mail. So I have one mailbox for all my domains. I just use aliases, and now I should be able to just send out mail. I can remove MailCow, and I now have more confidence that the mail I'm sending will arrive, because I was sending out email for new Teletron accounts, for example, and I never got a reply from that. And there was always something at the back of my head that said, hey, maybe they don't even see the mail, or they get it in spam because of your self-hosted mail setup. And now I no longer have that anymore. So those were the 5 items that I worked on. SEO, unfortunately, didn't really work out. I think also because it's a pretty complex and pretty big topic, I'm kind of hesitant to really dive into it. I really need the headspace for it to be able to learn more about it. That's why for the task that I want to do in the next 2 weeks of the accountability, that's why I made a big change. So I only have 2 tasks planned right now, which is SEO. So there's only one tagline there. It's learn and apply. So I need to finish the video, and I need to do what Ahrefs and SEMrush and other sites are doing with regards to your SEO possibilities. I need to see what I can do in the free tier, I need to learn more about keyword research, stuff like that. And I follow someone on YouTube, Roberto Digital, and I believe he's a SEO expert. So I also look at his YouTube channel because I know that he did some short clips on SEO. So that may also help in learning more about SEO. And so, yeah, SEO is important. At least I think it's important. It's something I need to invest in. So that's what I'm going to do. And the second item is prepare for live streaming. So that's something that I've always wanted to do after I started the podcast. I just do programming, do live streaming, and hopefully get some people watching. I've seen Kitse do it, for example. And even though he's pretty, he's cursing a lot in his videos. I think it's fun to follow it. I don't always have the time because I often am working while he's streaming and doing that, and working on my own code. Watching that and working on my own code is not always a good combination, but yeah, I also want to do that myself and hopefully find some people that like to watch and also learn from it. So if there's question in the chats, for example, that's what I envision. People ask, hey, why you're doing it like this? Because I have a pretty self-set-up way of working, probably something that works for me, but might not work for everybody else, but you could learn from it. I'd also like to explain and dive into it. The downside is that I don't have a lot of time for live stream, because live streaming, of course, requires you to have some consecutive time to sit, set it up, start streaming, and really build something. And what I've learned from doing side projects is an hour is completed before you know it. So I need to find some time in the day or in the week to have maybe a fixed day for streaming or something else. And I also need to discuss that with my family, of course. If they can, of course, they can miss me for a couple of hours. But if it really fits with everything, that's most important. I don't want to do this and be selfish, but it's a hobby, and I'm treating it like that. So with regards to live streaming, I need to learn how that works. So I'm hoping that I can do YouTube and Twitch at the same time from the beginning. Twitch, I know I can live stream on. So from YouTube, I know that they, at least in the past they required you to have a certain number of subscribers or views or few hours in a month to do live streaming. But a couple of weeks ago, I pressed the live stream button, and then it told me, hey, you have a 24-hour wait period, but after that you should be able to stream. So I'm curious about that, and I'm also curious about how I can set it up. I know there's a commercial service, Restream.io, that allows you to send the same stream to different targets or destinations, but there are also some open source version of that, which I am always more fond of, because Restream allows you to pay money directly if you want to do more than one channel. So I'm also going to look into that for the coming 2 weeks. In terms of equipment, I still want to see if I can set up my phone as a webcam, because I'm currently streaming this via the webcam of my laptop, but that one is not that good, the quality. So I'm hoping to do better with my phone. And I have a ring light here. You can see it, but that's already giving me some lighting, because I don't want to invest yet in having an expensive microphone or an expensive camera, because I don't know how long I'll be doing this, and I don't want to spend a lot of money and have stuff getting dusty and sitting there waiting while I'm not using it. So yeah, but the next 2 weeks I'm going to look into what I need. I'm going to buy some stuff that I need. So I want to buy a green screen, and I'm pointing behind me, because currently I use an OBS plugin that just removes the background, but the image is a bit shaky, and hopefully a green screen will make it more relaxed. And then I can also have a cool backdrop behind me instead of just my attic. So that's the only two things I want to focus on for the next 2 weeks. And ideally, when I set up the live streaming, I also want to use the live streaming to live stream the building of Founder tooling, because that's a tool I want to apply my SEO knowledge to. So I want it to be a directory of products and tools that founders can use when creating their startup or indie project or side project. And SEO will become very important there. So that's what I want to do. And hopefully, I don't think I can stream or live stream the entire building of the thing, because I also have downtime where I'm not recording, but I might be able to work on founder tooling. But it's something that I would like to do. And the fun thing is, even if nobody is watching the live stream, I'm still making progress because I am working on the project itself. So that's good. And thanks a lot for listening or watching. You can always reach me at debuggingdan.com. I'm available at X under the same name. And you can watch me on YouTube. Just search for Debugging Dan. And have a good day. Thanks for tuning in to Debugging Dan. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. Stay curious and see you next week.